Come on.
Welcome to Seadoo 2024. Hey Seadoo, pumped to show you the huge news we have in store for our 2024 lineup. Let's dive into the details, starting with the next evolution of the Seadoo Spark. Even with the new look, there's a few things that remain unmistakably Spark. Eye-popping colors have been a Spark staple since day one.
Change your static, hasn't it?
Can live those Seadoo life.
Come on, get to the engine.
Not only do the smoother lines improve the reboarding experience, but new handholds at the rear of the deck give riders multiple
bit soft
for
to me.
assured grip.
Yeah, so they've integrated the link queue now.
There are also 5 BRQ
The fact that they've not started with an engine,
it's
I
also
think.
been redesigned. The stereo now mounts closer to the rider, so it's easier to reach. Mode for a wider,
That's a nice
additional
colourway.
sound
You
throw.
see that white
Whole crew can party
It
together
looks so
at your favorite
soft and
sandbar.
The view
bubblified.
for 2024 is a 4.5 inches digital backlit display.
Spark now comes with a larger, watertight phone storage compartment. It's big enough to fit almost any mobile phone. Plus, there's even more room than before in the glove box for a couple of small essentials like registration.
2024 Spark
So they've
Tricks
introduced
brings
ergo
evolution
lock,
to a
see?
new generation of
That
fun
looks
in the
to it.
water. You'll see many of this throughout if you're going
They're
to
not
capture
going to
those
do the
epic
engine, are
moments.
they?
The biggest changes on the surface come where riders
It's all,
sit and
it's all
stand.
little
And
minute,
your one-person
incremental
freestyle
improvements.
has a
It's
smaller
not a
profile,
whole wholesale
making it
change.
easier. Okay, let's move from game raisers to game changers.
Come on.
Let us introduce you to the 2024 Seadoo Performance models and the new record-setting Rotax engine. This is without a doubt the biggest news on the water this season.
Oh my
It's
god.
based on the proven Rotax 1630cc supercharged 3-cylinder.
So that looks more interesting than the
Comes
Spark. Look at
With a
that
strong
colour.
reputation developing
Oh my
record-setting
god.
upgraded along with the engine management system. Even the spark plugs have been updated.
Where is all this new power coming from?
XPDI colourway, don't it? All day long. Look at that. I want to see that close up. That looks banging. Come on.
The new RX
See the Spark.
325.
That looks
The
banging.
undisputed king of
Ah,
the
325. They've gone up 25
horsepower.
horsepower.
60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds.
With signature Seadoo X
Come on, have you put it in the Spark? Like,
extended BTS, launch control,
looks
and
banging.
a unique hull with its
that
exquisite
colour is
structural
so
design.
nice.
Unmatched
See, that's what I want to see in the Spark. See, the fact they flattened the engine out and it's more elongated, I thought that would have been like the perfect pivot and transition for the Spark, but
As you probably
don't you think that Spark now though looks a little bit like soft and bubblified? Like it's lost that angular aggression, which I don't know if is a good or a bad thing. I mean the refinement undoubtedly with the new like watertight box and stuff is well overdue, but see, I knew they would. They just got it wrong. They feel like we want a bigger middle ground ski. We want the Spark with that power.
With ABS and back support, and enhances your grip as black and
Never
the
beat
full
your
color
Seadoo.
scheme is an absolute stunning. I'm hooked already.
Nothing wrong with beaching as long as it's sand.
Now,
Is I think they're teeing up the next gen of electric because that to me looked very, very bubblified, future gen, softer, mass market. All of it had been softened off, rounded out. I like the fact they've introduced the link queue. It's always annoyed me. They've had to drill into the rear deck on the 3-up. Like the fact that they've got the waterproof integrated phone. That's ace. Cool that you've got the GoPro mounts, albeit GoPro mounts are really good anyway.
No
They didn't-
screen foot padding.
Yeah, they didn't really speak about the fact of what, like they spoke about the new iteration of the IVR, like what has changed, because you're saying you can now do improved tricks and stuff, so that we need more information on, but they've now introduced, yeah, the colours look nice, the modularity and modularity looks nice, and obviously that with the changed design, all the panels are going to be different, so we're going to see that sort of Mark II version. Whether they build on that platform for like next year or whatever, but that being said, now Seadoo have dangled this carrot for like 2 or 3 years. Seadoo, come on! Like that engine as well, that 220, that 325 that they've now improved to high performance. The way it's been designed to me looks lower profile, and it looks at least like it would fit. So I don't know. I mean, it's cool to see Seadoo are iterating. They're changing the Spark model up after 10 years, but for me, they're not big enough wholesale changes. They're quite small, subtle, incremental improvements. But maybe that's all you can do to a platform which is pretty damn refined as it was.
Is it big enough for 10 years though?
I don't know. I think there'll be more videos that are coming out over the coming days, but I think it definitely looks. If you were to think about any model design, like even with like our range, the second gen they always refine all of the little sort of more rough edges, whereas on the Spark, the rough edges, for me at least, the angular design is what's made it look like that fighter jet. Really, really nice. Like those front red sections that come down where the front bin is, they almost look like soft and just rounded now. I need to see more photos of it, but my initial reaction of it is it looks much softer. But then if you think about when we saw like the 91 XP and the SP, to then when they went to the first time we saw the X4 hull, the beautiful rounded cowling and stuff, it was a huge step change then. So it might be one of those designs that when you look at it a couple of times, it really, really grows on you. But the RXP in that red, that's the first time I've seen a red that looks like the lava red, not the lava red, sorry, like the fury red of the XP. Yeah, like a real powerful red. Looks stunning. The only thing it's lacking for me a little bit is the decals. There wasn't many decals on it. It was a couple of little small subtle accent details. It definitely looks really, really nice. And the fact they're pushing it to the I think they're pushing the 1630 to its extremities. Don't know if that's a good thing. We'll obviously see in the coming years whether they're pushing that engine too far. But they're obviously doing it to compete against the new Yam 1900. So I mean, they've definitely done something, haven't they? It's just whether they've done enough. I do think they will build on that ski though. There we go. So that looks beautiful, doesn't it? So 325 horsepower is, I think, their latest sort of.
It's obviously their biggest thing they're pushing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, a bit premature. There'll be more stuff in the morning. So Megan, was it worth staying up to nearly 1 o'clock in the morning? So we're being constructive. So I feel slightly tired. Great to see that they're doing things with the Spark. The Spark was definitely due a facelift, if you want to call it that. But the engine, it's like it's like the iPhone making complete cosmetic changes, but not changing the actual mechanics under the hood, if you like, which they kind of have done that some years. But with Seadoo being 10 years, I feel like what you're going to see now is because they've changed, maybe they've changed like the actual sizing of the top deck. I can 100% tell there wasn't enough stills of it to be able to see the size differences, but to me it looked like different semantic small details as opposed to big sort of staple changes. But that new designed 1630, was that the displacement? I'm not 100% sure if they've changed it. Whether that can fit into that hole, and they're just not quite there yet for the launch, and we're going to see it in the next sort of iterations. But to me, that design just looks like it's gearing up for the electric. So, when we see the Spark for the first time, the first thing I notice, if you look closely, look at how soft all this is. So all of the front panels, and these are the pieces here that I was talking about, where it's all so softened out. Literally everything's been changed. So this top deck, all of the plastic mouldings look completely different to me. So they've done a whole facelift, if you like, with like if you look at the front storage bin, this has completely been changed. I don't think there's anything on there that looks. So the seat, yeah. So what they've done here is, if you think of like the GTIs or the bigger performance crafts, you always get these nice rear scoops that sort of really cushion and tuck you in. That coupled with what I think is like an ergolock version here, it does remind me of the GTI, the aesthetic of it. Obviously performance wise it looks identical in terms of the way it's going to perform and handle. So yeah, if you look at it, it looks more like I think what the product stylers have done here is they've tried to make it look like a more cohesive design. So if you look at the current Spark design, it does almost look really angular to the detriment that it doesn't feel like it flows and it all marries up. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Whereas if you look at that design, you look at it on the water, it almost looks like a full a full fiberglass gel coat GTI. It's got that sort of look and feel to it. Yeah. So if you look down through here, look how big the seat is in comparison. So they've really built that seat out. But if you look all of the design down through here, this looks slightly wider to me. The front engine hatch looks slightly different. So I think they've completely redesigned the top deck, which would say to me that there maybe are posturing for a bigger engine to fit in there. I mean, look at that. That's completely different, the design. So this is what I mean about how stuff grows on you. So this looks very GTI-esque. How all of these lines all flow into one. It looks way more refined than the current design. So yeah, that's your integrated ergolock there, which will pop up and down, whereas at the moment, as anyone would know, you have to drill the actual rear LinkQ system. It's a shame they've lost off of the 3UP platform the nice Seadoo embossed logo that was on there. That was a nice detail. He's waiting for the 16 engine. So yeah, starting if we're looking at bird's eye view, like I said, those footwells have been redesigned. This looks wider through here. So there's details we still don't know yet, like has the handlebar been changed so it's like the high performance skis. I do like a lot of these the rib design sort of through it. Just for me, it's missing a Seadoo logo for there. Do you know what I mean, Megs? It kind of
yeah,
like.
But remember, you would miss your CD logo anyway if you put your LinkQ on a Spark, wouldn't you?
Well, that's obviously what they suffer from at the moment. But so yeah, this is a big thing, isn't it? That they're talking about. Obviously, content creation is everything these days. So yeah, that looks interesting. I think that their current music system. This is what I was talking about on the handlebars. See how you've got all of this additional trim info now, so you don't just have your standard bit of trim. So that looks like it's been completely changed. This all looks the same. The system looks more generic now, the music system. Like the BRP Spark existing system looked. Do you know why I think they've done that? To make it feel less like a speaker that's just specifically designed for being on the water, like you could use it in more. I'm not sure about that one, because the current screen on the current Spark feels super integrated in the design, doesn't it? It feels like it really sits in there intentionally, whereas a lot of these chamfers and edges feel like they're. So it's brutal what I'm going to say. When you used to have the old-fashioned radio and you'd have the front fascias that you'd sort of stick over the top. So this seems like a really bulky fascia just to try and shoehorn in the actual screen. This is nice though, smooth, all the edges smooth in nicely. I mean, obviously that's night and day in terms of the amount of info we're seeing there on the like the actual screen itself. Yeah, so that is a big deal. Obviously it's super annoying you don't have anywhere to store your phone. Watertight compartment, so it's going to have got wider. We know that you can't get a phone sideways. I did see a slightly different looking rear IBR though. So yeah, they spoke about how you improve tricks and stuff. So what is it they're getting at with that, or is that just the marketing? So that colour looks really nice, and I like the ergolock bit there. So yeah, it looks really. Although I've not seen anyone utilising that, so maybe I'm reading that wrong. That to me seemed like something you'd really lock your knees into, but. Yeah, I'm not sure though, because the current sort of footwells are not bad, are they? Can you imagine if I'd watched that whole video and it was just a given that they put a 1600 in it, and I was just like focusing on all these details? That was actually a good shot there, Max, to show the. See how refined these are now, how smooth they are. It all just flows into one. Yeah, but can you imagine if they'd actually like, yeah, we put the 1630 in it, like, do you know what you're on about? And these are just other details on top. Then that would be a really, like, for example, if I was sat here talking about Seadoo and introducing the 1630, 130 brake, and all of those improvements, well done. Like, you'd have nailed it. That wasn't sarcastic, was it? You'd have nailed it. But the fact that we're just talking about all of those improvements with the same 900 Ace, that's what I'm disappointed about. Because I think that the aesthetic would grow on me in the sense that I think they're just refinement things. When you look at initially, you're just tied to what the current one looks like. Sometimes change is hard to compute in your head. Yeah, a whole new bag of show-stopping tricks. Look how much of a torpedo that looks. It's really, really angular. So what can we gain from that? The rear, the below the actual bottom deck looks slightly different there through the front. This all looks smoother. Doesn't look like it's a panel design. And this all looks way smoother through here. So, I mean, they've changed the whole top deck by the looks of things. So they've not been lazy in the redesign of it. I'd love to know what their thinking is in terms of like why they've not. There you go. That's a perfect shot right there. So we've got no stills of it at the moment, but pretty much all of this is completely smooth now. Whereas you've got all of the modular intersecting sections at the moment. The front is all smooth. All down through the front here is a lot more smoother. Front, like literally the whole design, the best way to describe it, it's a lot smoother. So if you like the angularness, I don't think that's the word, of the current Spark, this is a huge step change in product styling. Even down to the way like the oil access point, that looked to me like they've even redesigned that. These are obviously 3-ups by the look of it. So like that Seadoo Spark design now looks more electrified than ever to me. So I think that's what we're going to see in that engine next, but I'm desperate to see some images of it. I will obviously keep you guys posted, but that was my initial reaction, at least, to seeing the video live with you guys, and I'll obviously put some more stuff out for my socials over the coming days. It wasn't the Spark X that I was hoping for, guys. I'm as disappointed as you are. you never know, Seadoo might do something in the coming years.
Quick question then, do you think we will ever see the Seadoo Spark X?
All of the dealers, to be fair to me, all the people that I trust in the industry have all said to me, Joe, it's a pipeline dream, it's not going to happen. And that's the dealers, the people that deal with these skis day in, day out. So I'm not naive. I did know that like the idea of getting like a 1630, 130 or 170 brake Spark X was a long shot, because what you've got to think, when you've got a platform which is kind of at its most refined point, like the Seadoo Spark has really nailed that formula of lightweight, playful fun. And I'm on the sort of the peripheral. Everyone always tells me I'm like the anomaly, the same as most people from the 90s, in the sense that you want a bit more power out of that platform. And their argument is always then you need to step up to the high performance crafts. But then my comeback to it is then you lose that inherent connection to the water, and then you get into the whole debate.
Haven't you got that in some of your classics?
100%. Like for me, having seen that there's still not that bridge ski, in the sense that the Spark is the closest modern day ski, and it does a lot of stuff amazingly well. But if you're talking about just that inherent speed factor, a GSX still to this day is doing 60 miles an hour, 63 miles an hour, XPDI 65. Probably I've had out of that. That to me is the speed I want to be going on that size hole in the water. You don't need to go any faster than that. 60, 65 is where you need to be on this size ski. And for me, if the Spark would have done that, plus had the extended IBR, there would have been a real compelling argument then, Seadoo, to have sort of said, well, all of those two-stroke fanatics that are still there, and that community are still there, it kind of makes it a harder sell as to why you'd still be on those two-strokes. There's always going to be that love affair with the two-strokes cordless areas, but in terms of wanting a bit more power out of the ski, I personally just want to see a bit more power. See, let's refresh now to see if they've actually got.
So it gives you a reason to still keep all your two-strokes.
Well, yeah, that's one positive, isn't it? I don't like. Next, come on, I'm never going to sell the old. So even if literally Seadoo brought out a 300 brake Spark, I'm still not getting rid of the old ones, because for me, there's like you jump on a 1995 XP X4. It's incredible. The noise, the smell, the sound.
They're not even competing, are they?
I think what they're focusing on is still the user experience part, which is a really valid thing to focus on. Like, for example, it's always been annoying with the Spark when you put your phone in the little storage compartment at the front, and it's not quite watertight. The ergolock thing looks improved with your legs as you lock in. If you sit on like a GTI or an RXP, that sort of ergonomic position is really nice for locking in. But you're improving the rider like ergonomics, but you're not improving the speed. So you want improved ergonomics if you're going to go faster. So for example, if you're going faster, then you want improved riding positions and rider comfort. If you're staying at the same speed, for me, the Spark still is a really comfortable ski to ride. You can ride, it's like a motocross style bike. Yes, things like the Link Q system now being a fixed staple thing that pop up and down, that's always been super annoying, the old one. For me now, this is what Seadoo would hate, I would want them to retrofit a rear deck. That's the way I would be thinking about it, because, I mean, if you look at the Spark here, so the 2023 model, and you actually look at that design, some of the areas that I was talking about here on the new one, all of this looked like it had been smoothed out. All these little chamfers and little like design details, which I think made the Spark really angular. So for example, like these front pods, I think they're still the same, but I saw a lot of these like chamfered edges in design had all been smoothed out. The handlebars look slightly changed to me. It almost looked like the controls on the left hand side had all changed to your standard handlebars which you see on the higher end skis now. So I think some of the design details are starting to trickle down through. The sensor bin for your phone and stuff definitely looked wider and bigger, looked less streamlined, whereas at the moment it's kind of like the compartment for the phone follows the aesthetic of the design, whereas on the new one it looks as if everything's been built out to accommodate the actual user experience of having a bit more room. Same goes for obviously the seat and stuff. All of this looked padded out around the back here, but which is the biggest thing I noticed straight away is it looked more, what I would just say, like bubblified, looked softer, looked more basically like, yeah, if I was to use an analogy, if you go and Google Range Rover Evoque, like what me and Megs have got, Gen 1, super angular, lots of lines, then in Gen 2 the simplicity comes in, all of those lines get refined. It's like exactly what you see in car design. Cars get refined. Whether some of that character's been lost, we need to remain to see. Come on, Seadoo, update your images. The colorways look nice, but again, with Spark, as we know, interchangeable panels. Even if you had a 2021, you can bring panels in from a 2022. You can do whatever you want. So that to me is not a huge thing. The moulding in the actual plastic footwells, they've now gone to like a ridge detail versus the nice design. Again, is that a huge detail? Not 100% sure. We need to see that a little bit more. But I can't stop thinking about the fact that that engine design, when I've just seen it briefly on the video, it looks flatter and more elongated, which to me looks as if it's posturing to go in that hole. And I don't know whether the information is true, which has been out there, but they've just not met their deadline with it. I don't know whether they've done all of these amazing updates to the Spark or new refinements to the Spark, and the plan was to maybe drop in the engine there as well, and it's just not got there in time. And whether we see that next year, which will be a bit odd because it'll be like 11 years then. So, but you never know. These things do happen sometimes in the R&D stage. You just can't get it over the line. But at least to me, the 1630, as I remember seeing it, is a much higher, wider, more sort of square unit. Whereas on that, it looked a lot flatter and elongated, which would say to me, at the very least, you'd see a diluted down version of it in the coming years. But I shall keep you posted on my social media. Well done, Seadoo, for announcing the new red colour on the RXP. It's a shame we didn't get. I can't believe we didn't get it. I really thought it was. It just felt like everything.
Hashtag disappointed.
I don't want to be too hatery. By the way, put in the comments if you guys like these style of videos, because I'll start making some more reaction videos to what I honestly think, because this is literally obviously me seeing it for the first time, undiluted, unvetted.
Half asleep.
That is beautiful. It's just the fact that, as you guys know from the channel, I'm not a huge muscle craft fan. Whether that changes in years to come, who knows, but at least for now, I still love my old two-strokes. I can't help it, guys. Right, I'm going to bed. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Keep the classics alive, I guess. Still going strong.